The president of Mexico was here just the other day in Los Angeles, meeting with the Mexican governor, Jerry Brown. That's right, the Mexican governor, Jerry Brown. Because Jerry Brown is surrendering California to Mexico. And because they have supermajorities in the House and the Senate, and 1/3 of the people who currently live in California weren't born there, California's going south. So the Mexican president was in California with the Mexican governor, Jerry Brown. They were having a blast, and Jerry Brown was pandering all over the place. His knee was jerking all over the place. Please come in here illegally. Please come here illegally. We'll give you a driver's license, in-state tuition. We're a sanctuary state. We are Mexico, and Mexico is us. It's amazing how powerful a governor is. If he had said, we're going to secure our border and enforce federal law, Eric Holder would have dragged his ass into court. But because Jerry Brown is a governor of Mexico, well, he's compassionate. How can it be that Governor Jerry Brown is compassionate, and yet the president of Mexico isn't? Mark, what are you talking about? Well, ladies and gentlemen, something is going on in Mexico. I want you to know about it. Something's going on in Mexico that should upset us, being compassionate and all that. You see, because the president of Mexico and that government for decades has been playing a game, attacking the gringo in the north for being so abusive to Mexican citizens who've come here illegally, demanding that they get public education and health care, demanding that when they commit crimes that Mexican law apply, making all kinds of demands on our society, you, the American people, your wallets, your law enforcement, health care, and your schooling. Yes. But in Mexico, the story's quite different. Tell me, if Mexico were a thriving, healthy country, would millions of people be leaving? Why doesn't anybody ever ask El Presidente that question from Mexico? Why are millions and millions of people coming into this country, staying in this country, and leaving Mexico, among other countries, but I'm focused on Mexico right now, because that's where about 52%, give or take, of the illegal aliens come from. Doesn't that tell you something's wrong with El Presidente and his government? Something's wrong with their economic and social policies? Well, here we have an article from the Associated Press in Mexico, and I thought to myself, wow, I wonder what the Mexican governor, Jerry Brown, thinks about this. Mexico's largest crackdown in decades, this is the Associated Press, on illegal migration has decreased the flow of Central Americans trying to reach the United States and has dramatically cut the number of child migrants and families, according to officials and eyewitness accounts along the perilous route. Well, this has me quite concerned. All of these children from other countries in Central and South America who are trying to get to the United States out of love, well, they're trying to escape, spousal abuse. They're trying to escape crime. They face certain death. How can the Mexican government do this? El Presidente. Where's Luis Gutierrez? Where's the Hispanic Congressional Caucus? They don't even understand where that word Hispanic comes from, the Hispanic Congressional Caucus. It should be the Latino Congressional Caucus, if you're going to segregate yourselves based on race and ethnicity. But that's a whole separate issue. Why aren't these compassionate left-wing Democrats and these compassionate mush Republicans, a.k.a. Jeb Bush, denouncing Mexico? I'll go on. Convoys of Mexican federal police and immigration service employees in southern Mexico have begun scouring the tracks of the infamous freight train known as La Bestia, or the Beast, that has long carried crowds of migrants on its lumbering route north. They have also set up moving roadblocks, checking the documents of passengers on interstate buses. Checking documents of passengers? We're not even allowed to do that in Arizona. That would be racist, xenophobic, discriminatory. Associated Press journalists witnessed dozens of federal police and Mexican immigration agents storming the train as it came to an unscheduled stop in the post-midnight darkness Friday. "We're federal agents. Give up. You're surrounded. Come down carefully," the lawmen shouted to the huddled, stunned migrants. Fewer than 15 were detained on the train that once carried 600 or 1,000 migrants at a time. American and Mexican officials say they are noticing the same drop-off all along the route. The roundups follow U.S. requests for help from Mexico, as well as Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador earlier this summer, when the number of unaccompanied minors turning themselves into the U.S. Border Patrol reached what President Obama called an urgent humanitarian crisis. So this is the question I wish to pose to you. How can it be that Mexico, carrying out our desire to secure their southern border, to prevent the self-importation of illegal aliens, including illegal alien children, escaping certain death, escaping spousal abuse, is perfectly fine. But if we do that ourselves on our southern border, that would be Mexico's northern border, that somehow that's inhumane. I would pose this question to Luis Gutierrez, but the federal government is shut down and Luis Gutierrez has gone home to the Windy City, where a windbag like he is appreciated. Now, I'm very serious about this. Think about this. How is it that the Mexican government and their federal police, the federales, can do what they're doing with the support and encouragement of the United States, but our federales and our locals and our state law enforcement are told to stand down? Can you explain that to me?